We have a question from Zach in regards to his 2000 GSXR 600. Handles very well at lower speeds, 50 miles an hour and under, but once I get started over 55 miles an hour on the highway, I basically have to muscle the bike to change lanes. It feels very restrictive and resistant to lean and very unresponsive. My sag is set at 35 in the front and 30 in the rear, and I'm 136 pounds. I've tried tweaking compression and rebound damping, but nothing seems to correct the sluggish handling. I've owned the bike for 6 years and haven't changed the fork or the shock oil. Could old suspension oil be the cause? Well, Zach, let's look at some things here in sequence and look at it logically. 6 years old and you never changed the fork or the shock oil? Well, yes, that's going to be a contributing factor, most definitely, because it's a really old oil. So that's the first thing. Do I think it's the root cause of your problem? Probably not. Let's take a look at some other stuff. If the bike handles really well under 50 miles an hour, if it's very nimble, moves around, steers easily, corrects its line very simply, then the current geometry and sag setting combined seems to work very well. However, once you up the pace, the bike seems sluggish. So what would that suggest? Perhaps that the bike is too far on its nose, in that there's too much weight on the front wheel, and getting it to change direction quickly is somewhat difficult because it's reaching a point where you have to, because it's carrying all the weight on the front tire, move the bike around yourself, which clearly you're having an issue with. It could also be the converse, highly unlikely, that the bike is a little too soft in the back and that the front wheel doesn't have enough traction. So if you decelerate when you're going over 50 miles an hour, if the bike improves its handling at that point and you load the front tire, then that will give you a clue that actually your geometry, even though sag numbers are good, that there's not enough weight on the front tire and it won't turn, it won't move, it won't change direction. So there's essentially here, the first point is a geometric change that I would look at. So go in a straight line, and if you feel like the bike under 50 miles an hour has oversteer in that it just immediately turns, then I would suggest that you raise the front of the bike a little bit to make the chassis a little flatter or perhaps a little more neutral. If you do that, and the bike's handling returns, then we've solved the problem, because sag is in the ballpark. It's a little tight for the street. That's more of a race, almost a race bike sag. That would give you the root cause to the problem, and then you can experiment with geometry. Same if you roll off the gas a little bit, go to neutral throttle so that the front end is loaded a little bit, then the bike responds more, then we know the back of the bike is too low or the front of the bike is too high, and you can move in that subsequent direction, Zach, to figure out the cause of the problem there. Rebound will have a lot to do with this, especially if shock rebound is set to aggressively holding the back of the bike down, or alternatively your fork rebound is set to aggressively holding the front end down. Those will cause severe handling problems as well, and if both are done, where they're both over adjusted and rebound is too aggressive, then the bike absolutely will not move, it won't turn, it won't do what you need to do. So hopefully I've given you some ideas there in terms of geometry and direction to go. Also get that fork and shock oil serviced urgently, please. And then if you need some further help in regards to some kind of testing program, I'd be more than happy to help you with that. So thanks for your questions, Zach. If you have questions for me, please send them via Facebook to Dave Moss Tuning, or alternatively post them here on YouTube at Catalyst Reaction SBW. Thanks.